Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of the UK Connection. It's Saturday. It's time to lay back and talk a little music, have a few laughs, have a couple of drinks, and along with two of my favorite people on the planet, we've got Steven Reid and Simon Bray in the co-captain's chairs alongside me. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you? I've decided to join you guys today. So I got an ice cold Grolsch here. I've been on a kind of like a German beer kick for the last couple of months. Lagers, Kolsch's, and Pilsners. That's really all I've been into. So, I figured I got to stop this iced tea thing every time we get together. Because, I love iced tea, but I feel left out, So today I'm joining you.
You've got to find a better way to get through the show with us, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, there you go. So meanwhile, I crack out the beer, and then Steven holds up his glass before, and I'm like, where's your beer? But he's decided something else today. See?
Yes, I am rumming it today.
You're rumming it today. No bourboning it today. Rum bothy.
The rum bothy. Do we know what a bothy is?
I have no idea.
A bothy, as the little building here will tell you, if you're out in the mountains in the wilds of Scotland, and you're kind of stranded in the middle of nowhere, you will hopefully come across a bothy, which is a building that is in the middle of nowhere and really just used as a shelter overnight. So that's what a bothy is. So they started off as the gin bothy, they are now the rum bothy. And for anyone who wants to slowly but surely try and triangulate my whereabouts, this is from Glam's, which is also just up the road from me. So there you go. It's excellent, by the way. This is a small batch. 5 of 21.
Oh, that is small. That is really small.
And I'm pleased to say it's also absolutely fantastic. And anyone that's wondering what else is in the glass, yes, I'm a complete heretic. It's ginger beer, but wow, it's utterly wonderful.
So do most of these bothies have like luxurious spirits hanging out there, or maybe you get lucky and you come across one that allows you to kind of camp out there and also gives you something to drink?
They're usually a stone shelter with absolutely zero in it. You'll maybe find something where you can maybe set up a stove or whatever to cook for yourself. It's really a salvation kind of thing. It's
gotcha.
Where you would stay over if you had no other option. Do you know what I mean? It's as basic and as simple as it would possibly get. It's a traditional place for people who would look after the wilds to stay overnight. They would know where they all were, and they've been kind of maintained and kept, and there's a kind of system of them now for people who are out in the mountains overnight.
I guess I'm still struggling with why bothy and alcohol kind of whatever. It doesn't matter.
It's just a local thing more than anything else. It's a catchy name. There you go. That's probably, I would imagine.
It is. That it is. Simon, how about you today?
Well, next on the Travel Channel, I've got some King Goblin. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's part of the Hobgoblin range, 6.6% ruby beer. But importantly, and I think this just can't be stressed enough, I'm drinking it out of a skull. Do you know why?
No, why?
Because I can.
Perfect example.
I like to think so. Yeah.
I do say I love that label on that beer. That's awesome.
It is. It's very cool, isn't it? And do you know what? It's actually in date.
Wow.
Yeah. I know. That's unusual, isn't it, for me?
It's unusual, yes. It's not 3 or 4 years fermented, overly fermented. No.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm sculling it up. Yeah.
You are indeed. So was that a jar at some point?
No, this actually, given what you've done, this actually came with some Dead Man's Fingers, the rum.
Oh, right, yes. So
I thought, what could be more metal than drinking out of a skull?
Yes.
Not much to be.
I have a feeling we're going to be hearing from people for months on end about how they got to get one of their own skulls so they can drink their alcohol. And see what you started now, Simon? Skull drinking. We had skullduggery, now we got skull drinking, right? I'm all for it. I got to go get my skull now. Awesome. Look at that. Look at how cool that looks. And it's
it looks like fresh blood as opposed to
well, yeah. If this isn't the thumbnail, I don't know what will be, because I didn't like last week's thumbnail. I looked weird. I'm just saying.
I didn't notice much difference, but there you go.
Oh, thank you.
It's not like the one of you taking a swig, because that was the best one of all of them.
Yeah.
No, you didn't like that one? I like it. I don't know. Maybe you'll get me doing the swig this time. I don't know.
Yay. It's not a skull, though, is it?
Yeah. Skull is best. Yeah, there you go. Skull is best. Well, we're not here to talk about skulls and beer and rum and whatnot, but we are here to talk about power metal's very own darling band, Sabaton. So Sabaton or no Sabaton? I mean, that's what these two gentlemen are going to talk about today. So for those who maybe have no idea who Sabaton are, Steven's going to fill you in a little bit. They have been a force to be reckoned with over the last like 5 to 8 years here in the States. A lot of people who are into power metal talk about them. They've done tons of touring, lots of albums. Most people I talk to either love them or they don't. So that's kind of what this whole discussion is about today. So Mr. Reid's going to give us a little bit of background on the band themselves.
Well, as we'll discover, lots of people love them, lots of people hate them, and I fall into both camps. However, let's explain who Sabaton are. So Sabaton are, for a want of a better turn of phrase, a Swedish power metal act. Now, they came together in 1999. They've released 9 albums to date, with a 10th just round the corner. It's really not going to be long until that is out. They released their debut, Simon can see it coming there, in 2005.
Coming across now.
Right? So it's a long gestation for a modern band, 6 years between formation and an album coming out. And back then, the lineup was Joachim Broden on lead vocals and a little bit of keyboards. More than a little bit of keyboards. Rickard Sundin on guitar, Oscar Montelius on guitar, Per Sundstrom on bass, and Daniel Mulbach on drums. And then they actually got themselves a keyboard player. Daniel Myra joined just after the debut album was released. Now, unlike most bands, that actually remained really steady. It was a really solid lineup until 2012, when basically, for want of a better turn of phrase, there seemed to be a civil war in the band.
See what you did there? That's good.
There you go, see? And you were left with only Broden and Sundstrom as Sabaton, and all of the other 4 moved on and formed the band called Civil War, who operate in a remarkably similar kind of situation. But I would suggest they're slightly more serious about what they do. And that's possibly where my issues are going to come later on. So out of them, only Mulbach and Myra would appear to still be with Civil War. So that's an aptly named band as well. So by the time they release their 7th album, you have Broden, Sundstrom, Chris Roerland and Thoba England on guitar, and Hans van Dahl on drums, although Robin Bach did come in and out in about 5-10 minutes here and there just to see if they were doing okay. And then England left in 2016, and guess where he ended up? He's ended up with Civil War. So it all seems to it's all very incestuous in that sense. And his place was taken by a chap called Tommy Johansson. And from there, really from the split of the band, where you would probably think that, is this the end? What band can survive losing 2/3 of their number? Really, that's been the catalyst from them to go from being a successful, if a little bit of a niche, power metal band to really become something of a phenomenon, to be honest. They've really gone on to be an absolutely ginormous act. As you say, getting a little bit of traction now in the US, but over here in the UK, for a band of that style, they've really done very well. But in Europe, as you would expect, they've gone absolutely ginormous. I mean, they've headlined Wacken to the extent that, and it's nice to see that they still got on with the ex-bandmates to some extent. I believe that when they headlined Wacken, there was 2 stages, and they actually headlined both simultaneously. I mean, come on. So the new lineup on one and the old guys playing on another. Wow, that's how to be as over the top as you possibly can be. And from there, they've even had their own kind of multi-band, multi-day festivals, which they obviously headline, and they would appear to be something special as well. Now, I would suggest, without taking too much thunder from Simon, that they're probably best known for their lyrical content. Sorry, Simon, which is all based around wars and battles. Okay, thanks. Cheers. Okay. And that would appear to be their thing. So from there, I'll hand it over to Simon. There you go.
Okay, thanks.
So why do we love Sabaton?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. Do you know what? In the same way that we did with the Dearly Parted Mr. Love, I'm going to be good cop and you're going to be slightly less good cop this week, I think. Sabaton, they are absolutely the anti-David Bowie. They are the anti-Madonna. They are the anti-Gaga. You know what you're going to get with Sabaton. They're not changing their image every 3 seconds. They really aren't. They really aren't. You're going to get your camo vests and you're going to get, I think this is where I just get even cooler than I have been previously. Going to get the shades.
I feel underdressed now.
See, I'm going to get the shades. And I'm going to take these off in the encore in a couple of pages' time. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. Yeah, it's also very dark in here now.
I can imagine.
Hold on. Yeah.
I am disappointed that you didn't get the evening. No.
Yeah, it's a complete illusion. I have absolutely no hair here. I'm a complete TK kid. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah. I'm not really that Steve Bannon lookalike. Oh no. I'm just saying no. Afraid not. No, but anyhow, you know what you're going to get. They are the AC/DC of power metal. That said, are we 100% confident that they're really power metal?
No.
Okay, we're not, are we? Because for a start, Joachim Brodin does not sing like he's got his nuts in a vice.
No, he does not.
It's true.
Does
Absolutely.
he not?
His bollocks would appear to flow free.
Well, yeah. Well, he does wear those quite loose camouflage pants all the time, along with the shades, does he not? But they're definitely power metal-ish. But they're pretty.
So, how would you describe them then?
Keyboard heavy metal.
So not synth-based pop then?
No, that's more Beast in Black.
Well, symphonic classic metal.
That's more in Nightwish, I'd say. They're definitely power metal-ish, and they're definitely heavy metal-ish, but they're keyboard-tastic, and they're very thumpy. When you go and see them, Joachim does this all the time. He doesn't fist that. He does that, doesn't he? And he also, while we're at it, he also does that kind of like. His performance is basically him doing yoga all night. Because he does, doesn't he? If I wasn't 300 years old, I'd get down and I'd, he's sometimes when you go and see them, you can't see him because he's like in a dying dog or something. Obviously I've never done yoga in my life, but you know what I mean? He's doing things. He's having a right good workout, isn't he?
I'm really sorry. I've now got visions of Joachim Brodin being in a dying dog.
Did I make that up, or is it a thing?
Downward dog.
I don't know. Oh, downward dog. Oh, dying dog. So some canine-related yoga fun for you. Just I'm afraid these have got to come off. By the way. Oh, there you go. There you are. Let's go.
Where did Joachim go?
I've just moved on to the other stage, and but you know what you're going to get lyrically. It's all about warfare, mainly of the relatively modern era, heroism, etc. They're quite comfortable, and I'm fairly confident you're going to go on to say, well, every album stays this album's the same, and they do, and that's good. I like that. But what has happened is that as they've got I would suggest more money, that the sound has got even bigger. And I think, fun as it was to see them in a tiny room at the very first time I ever saw them, seeing them in larger venues is a cool thing because the stage show is excellent.
Yes. Now that there is definitely in our Venn diagram, there is a point where we intersect, and Sabaton fall into that little bit where we intersect. Most of it falls outside of it because I have seen Sabaton 3 times, I think, and I would pay to see Sabaton again tomorrow because live, they're an absolute beast. Now, it's a choreographed show, and it's choreographed to within an inch of its life. Okay, if you go to see Sabaton, yes, you'll do lots of this, you know, but you have to be willing to laugh along. There are lots of little set plays. It's almost like watching slapstick. There's lots of jokes. And don't get me wrong, can I speak Swedish? Not a word. But especially when you watch them and they're speaking in English, it's a bit stilted. So you've got to be along for the ride. You have to be aware of the fact, which I maybe wasn't the first time, but certainly have been since, that what you're going to watch is beyond slick. If something untoward happens, it would really knock them out of their stride, I think. But on you go.
It's weird because they try and give the impression that actually at times they're just fucking around, aren't they? But modern shows are all programmed within an inch of their life, aren't they? And you know, wow, when they do the who wants to hear X song, and then wow, miraculous, it's just the right one, and the lights work at just the right time. Wow, who'd have seen that one coming? Yeah. Spooky, isn't it? But they at least try and make the effort to make it seem marginally more spontaneous than it is. And I've seen them without a keyboard player. So, if that's
you've seen without a keyboard player,
unless someone's playing out, that stay outside on the stage.
Yeah. Or on
that. Yeah, if that's being piped in, you can't be overly spontaneous at all, can you?
No, absolutely. And now we're coming to my issue. Live, great fun, really great fun. Anyone that likes over the top, cheesy, and it is cheesy. We've spoken about quite a lot of power metal bands, and I've gone, no, they're not cheesy. This is not cheese. I mean, Sabaton, I imagine they bring their own dairy so they can churn the cheese as they go, because they must run out as every night is played. They have to bring more fromage for every show because it's beyond cheese. Live, I can live with that. On a studio recording, I have a real problem with power metal that is neither really powerful or metal. And the synths are so everything that they've got two guitarists who must wonder exactly what a recording studio looks like, because they must just get wheeled in blindfolded and go, solo, and then they get wheeled back out again. Because every riff is covered in a swathe of synthesizers. And it took me longer than it should have done to work out why I love them live and I would buy their albums, because I don't have any of them now, and think, why is this not the same band that I see live? And it's because what I'm doing is I'm enjoying going to the circus, but I wouldn't necessarily buy the circus music once I'd been. And that's kind of my problem with Sabaton, is it's all about the show. It's all about, and as you say, the more money, not the more money, well, the bigger budget, that's a better way of putting it. The bigger the budget, the more prevalent that problem has become. They've got some great ideas. There are songs out there that have got, like the snare drum is a rifle shot, because all of the lyrics are war-based. And the bass drum is almost like a bomb going off. So you've got this boom, pow, and then you add all these synths and you think, how much of what I'm listening to was played? And how much of it does somebody go and hit enter and we've got a song? It gets under my skin to the extent that I struggle to enjoy the albums. They're all good fun and they're all instantly forgettable.
So you make an interesting point, if I could interject for a second. So people that I know here in the States who I've talked to about this band, I know plenty of folks who are metal fans, true and true, that will, any chance they get, they will put down and make fun of any band claiming to be metal that has too much keyboards. But yet a lot of these people love Sabaton.
Really?
Yes. So why is that? That's very interesting. There's something about this band that puts them in a different plane than some others that have similar type of a style or utilize similar type of elements in their music. Because I know plenty of folks who are tried and true. They love like the heaviest stuff, extreme metal, all that kind of stuff. And they usually, power metal, Sabaton, love them. Why? What is it about them? They get a pass, obviously. Now, maybe it has something to do with the live element, right?
Well, is it maybe because they don't take themselves quite, or don't appear to take themselves quite so seriously? I'm here. I'm not anti-Sabaton. This is not. I don't want to go too far because we kind of know what happened with me. Okay, so I'm not going to go too far with Sabaton, right? But I'm not here to actually tell you that Sabaton are rubbish. I'm here to tell you that Sabaton are absolutely fantastic at one aspect of what is really important about a band. Live, oh yeah, if someone said, you know, you've been to see Sabaton, should I go? Yeah, absolutely you should go. If the tickets are quite expensive, it's because the show's brilliant. Don't worry, you'll have a great time. But if they ask me, do I need to go and get any of their albums, do you know, I would go, probably not. Do I need Carlos Rex? It's okay. Will you remember any of it when it's finished? I don't think so. But clearly not everyone feels that way.
You're expecting me to jump in at that point, are you?
Well, yeah, I would imagine that you would.
Yeah, well, you know, I've been having such a fun time this week listening to Sabaton. I really have. You know, so much other stuff, right. and then earlier today, and you know, this might prove you to be more right than you usually are, Stephen. I thought I've got some Sabaton vinyl, and I don't have as much Sabaton vinyl as I thought I did. But I do have the Great War History Edition, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I thought to myself, do you know what? Can't remember any of them. And I only remember 82nd All the Way because Amaranth covered it. Yeah. And I haven't had a chance to listen. It's the only one I haven't had a chance to listen to all week. And shit, can't remember any of that. But I'm sure it's great.
Yeah, but that's sure that you can't remember any of it.
Yeah, off the top of my. But you know what? When I was going through them, I tell you what. Let's veer off. You are a big fan of logos and stuff, are you not?
Oh yes, yeah.
Well, you know.
Yeah, that's a proper logo.
Yeah, it's a cool logo. It's practically always. Yeah. Well, it is always there, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I'm genuinely really, you know, like I did with the loaf and like I've done with everything. You know, we've got great taste between us. You know, I've really enjoyed listening to Sabaton. I really have. Yes, they're all interchangeable. You know, pretty much in many ways. But you know, it's a fun listen whilst they're there. Really is. And so I think, Pete, part of the reason that they're so popular is that they tour relentlessly. You know,
they work really hard. They work really hard.
They really do. The show's fantastic. You know, that tank. You know, they tend to be barbed wire and sandbags and shit, and it looks like, you know, you're at the Somme or something. You know, yeah. You know, I think aren't Mr. Broden and Mr. Sundstrom in charge, and I think they clearly plough all their money into the work, and you know, I think you can respect that. You really can. Yeah. You know, and
sorry.
You see where they were 20 years ago, and you know, let's complain just for a second. Though they've pulled the UK tour, haven't they, this week?
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for Halloween to do it, and then you won't see me for the next year. However, they pulled the UK tour this year, and those were actual arenas.
Yeah. I mean, they are a phenomenal live. They really are. I can't stress that enough. I struggle. There's lots of things that I would go and see live, you know, theatre shows, various things like that. But you enjoy it while you're there. And then I expect with a band to be able to then bring that home in a way. Do you know, it's not like going to a show or a recording of something or whatever it may be. When you go and see a band, to me, most of the fun is then coming home and thinking, right, I need to go and get the catalogue. I need to, what did they play? And isn't that great? And oh, actually, they maybe should have played these ones because they're my favourites. And what I've actually found with Sabaton is that I've bought the albums after seeing them. And on a couple of occasions, I've actually thought, you know, I've obviously got that wrong. So I'll try a different era of the band this time. And I've just found the exact same issue, that it's all it's not quite kiddie metal. It's not quite what I think they've almost caused. And that's part of my problem as well. Because especially in Europe now, there are lots and lots of bands, Beast in Black and Battle Beast, because it's kind of one and the same but different. Or I saw Twilight Force. Twilight Force opened for Sabaton with Accept below Sabaton on the bill. Right? Okay. And I went to see Accept in effect because I'd never seen them.
Yeah.
Right. And Accept couldn't actually fit their stage set on the stage in Scotland. It was ridiculous. They were just about playing in the crowd because they brought half of it. It was so big. They were right at the front of the stage. Couldn't go anywhere at all. But Sabaton headlined. Do you know? I mean, the merch in that room, Accept had brought lots, but their merch room was actually forced somewhere else because Sabaton, their merch was so huge and the crowd was so massive round the stall that to go and get Accept merch, you actually have to go upstairs into the balcony, into a little bit that's usually a bar. And here was Accept's merch at the end. I had to go, I keep asking people, where are the Accept t-shirts? Well, you're up the stairs, mate, along there, round the corner,
here, though.
Yeah. Through those doors. And then you walked in, you were like, oh, okay. And there's this guy standing in going, nobody's speaking to me.
Yeah. Well, that's like going to an Iron Maiden show, right? If Iron Maiden has an opener, you're not going to get any of the openers merch anywhere on that floor, right? Because Iron Maiden's merch, they're going to have like 50 different shirt designs, tour programs. I mean, you need the whole 9 yards, right? So that I can imagine Sabaton is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
That was the same at Manchester when I saw them. We'll have to zip it up about Twilight Force because they're going to, I think we might be mentioning them later.
Well, I'm just going to mention them now.
Go on.
Okay, because what I was going to say was I really enjoyed them. As an opening act, I thought they were good fun. Utterly stupid, right?
Mm-hmm.
More stupid than Sabaton. But then again, it's the opening act. So they don't have the whole stage. They don't have the show. So an elven cloak and a sword and things like that.
They'd have the clocks, didn't they?
Right, that's almost as much as they can kind of think. That's what we can take in our carry-all that we're taking around Europe with us, as opposed to the 75 trucks that Sabaton have got outside, okay?
And they did, because at the Apollo, you queue up where they park the trucks. There are some big trucks.
Yeah.
You know, obviously they've got to fit a tank in there, haven't they? You know, and some artillery, and you know, a squadron or something. You know, they've got a shitload of stuff with them, haven't they?
But don't you feel that the likes of Twilight Force, who were good on the night, they were good. So I went and dutifully bought their CD because I'm a sucker. If the support band is good, I think let's support the support band because they've probably paid to be on that tour. They're probably eating less great food outside of the hospitality and all this sort of stuff. So, you know, they were good. They entertained us. We looked at each other and went, actually, they were really good. Let's go and buy the CD. I've sold that because I brought it home and it was the same. You think, well, when I saw them on stage, they had a guitarist. Why can't I hear the guitarist on the studio recording? Where did they put these people when the songs are actually recorded? And there's so many of these European bands now that are like that. Draconian. I listened to their most recent album a few weeks ago, and it's exactly the same. It's just some guy with a keyboard going, dun, 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 dun. And you think, it isn't powerful, and it's not metal. Stop it. Just stop it now. And I would suggest that Sabaton inadvertently have spawned all of that. And that's actually one of my real problems with it. It wasn't maybe until I saw a couple of support acts with them over the years that I kind of thought, well, hold on a minute. I understand exactly where the influence comes from now. And they've seen that Sabaton can take that sound and play festivals, headline festivals. Maybe we can do the same. So, you know, and it's really caused me a bit of a problem with the European power metal scene. And there's lots of great European power metal. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing bands like Primal Fear and Hammerfall and Halloween. Brilliant. Utterly phenomenal. You know, sign me up for all of those bands. But the younger bands coming through, I'm a little worried, really.
So here's a theory. And again, this may have no validity whatsoever, but it just kind of came based on some of the stuff you both were saying. So here you have a band who proclaims and, you know, struts their stuff. We are a true metal band. They're obviously very popular. Arguably, their albums may not kind of contain the power that we see them live. They've got a gimmick. They play it up, right? The whole war themes, military, all that kind of stuff. These guys are not stupid. Obviously, you've got a band who maybe some of you have heard of called Nightwish. Nightwish is very popular. Nightwish has a signature style. But there are maybe folks out there who maybe don't like female vocals in metal, right? Or maybe Nightwish is not quite metal enough because of the female vocals and the symphonic nature. But you get a band who has a male singer. They sing about wars and military. They bring a freaking tank on stage, all this kind of stuff. But the music's kind of similar. It's kind of catchy. Hey, what's not to like there? I like this band, right? Because kind of similar. I don't know. I listen to Sabaton, I listen to Nightwish. There are a lot of similarities there. There are a lot of differences as well. But arguably, could Sabaton be the kind of anti-Nightwish to some people?
I think that's a distinct possibility. I think there's a lot of aspects at play. I think Sabaton actually are very clever. I mean, I'm here to kind of say, oh, not Sabaton, but Sabaton are very clever. They know exactly what they're doing. And I do wonder, because most of them have kept their powder dry about what the split was really about when, 2/3 went one way and the other two stayed under the name. And it was kind of put out there that maybe not everyone wanted to work quite as hard as Sabaton would need to do to get to where they've gone. And that's fair comment, because they have really lived on the road for, a decade plus now, but well, obviously they could. And you have to take your hat off to them for that. And they've really, really, really worked on that live show. I mean, Simon alluded to just how well choreographed. I don't mean that as a slight, how well choreographed the show is. I mean, they actually have a guy who is designing all of this and making the props for them and making it look quite authentic. There's real thought in there, as there is in the lyrics too, to be fair, because I'm not a military expert, but they do go and research all of these battles. They do make sure that they are pretty much close to actually telling you the history of what went on.
Well, they do interact with the fans a lot and say, what would you like us to write about?
Yeah, that's true.
Pick a war, any war. Give us some guidance, and then they listen and they try their very best to do it. I think you're right about the splits. I think some of them just couldn't cope with the relentless pressure. I don't think who splits up this week. Is it Every Time I Die, with the lead singers gone from the rest of them, and it just looks like absolute carnage. But clearly, the fact that after Civil War turned up and played with them on the 20th anniversary seems it's not the worst thing in the world. And I've seen lots of bands, but Civil War never tip up around here. So
no. I do wonder as well, though, if, and now I'm surmising here, I'm just kind of throwing theories out there. If there was an element within that band that kind of went, can we not just take this a little bit more seriously? When you hear what Civil War became, I mean, it's such a close, I mean, there's the link with the band name and what the lyrics were about. They don't just sing about wars and battles and things like that, but it's very much still a theme. The artwork on the albums has that kind of war and battle theme. And I do wonder if the guitarists, maybe especially in that band, kind of asked the question, can we not maybe take this a little bit more seriously and be a little bit more of a serious metal band? Because what I would suggest, and I'm about to throw myself under the tour bus here, okay, is I can find certain similarities with Kiss. Not musically they're poles apart. But Kiss started off as something dangerous. It was dangerous music, it was rebellious, it was beyond risky at certain points. But the costumes were there to shock and offend. It was so that parents would go, oh, you can't listen to that, so that you wanted to listen to that. And very quickly, what they actually became was the complete opposite. They became the kiddie-friendly band with the lunchbox and the dolls, and it was adverts on the telly and stupid films and all of the sort of thing that went on. And it became the absolute antithesis of what they hoped to start out as. And I feel Sabaton have gone through a similar journey. I mean, I think the last time we saw them in Glasgow, and they headlined a 3-band bill with Bloodbound, who were pretty good, Ailstorm, and I think that they're also a factor in kind of creating rubbish like pirate metal, because all these bands watch Sabaton and think, well, they can do this shtick. What can we do? We can't just go and sing about wars and beat our chest and wear Rob Halford cast-offs. What we need to do something different. Let's put on a hat and go, aha, and have inflatables on stage. I mean, I'm going to really throw myself under the bus here because they're a local band. They're a local band to me, really quite local to me. And they're utter dog shit. They're just, I quite like some of the spin-off stuff. Glory Hammer, there's another band kind of falling in this area. And they sing actually about local stuff, really local stuff to me. And it makes me laugh and sing along, which is what it's meant to do. But realistically, Sabaton, I mean, last time I saw them, they had a kid up on stage. And the kid got to wear the sunglasses and all this. And you kind of thought, yeah, it was just a little step. Absolutely. And it was lovely. I mean, it was really nice. It was one of those moments you go, oh, that's nice.
You didn't ask me.
Well, yeah, as I say, it's meant to be family friendly, Simon. That's the thing. So
putting some sunglasses on, really?
No, getting the child up on stage. Oh, that was meant to be family friendly. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it made me kind of wonder when the show had finished, have we tipped that balance now between being a metal band and actually being an evening of family entertainment? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not really why I go to a power metal gig. No?
I think Ghost are kind of straddling that same line right now. And with some fans we're kind of struggling with that because I think Ghost also has the shtick that they're doing, and they're all of a sudden starting to appeal to the kids and the masses. Whereas, you know, most of the hardcore metal fans are like, wow, I remember Ghost when they first came up. They had this evil sound, satanic lyrics. They're kind of like this Merciful Fate, Blue Oyster Cult hybrid. And now all of a sudden it's like everybody likes Ghost. Ghost is now playing in 15,000 seat arenas in the States, and they're getting played on the radio. And it's like, you know, well, are they a metal band anymore?
Well, see, and this is maybe a different show. I'm a Ghost fan. Okay, I like Ghost.
I do too, yeah.
Okay. I think they fall really quite close to the Sabaton thing, but I think they always have. They've been really clever in the sense that when most of their coverage early on was about the image. It was about the anonymity. It was that mystique that they brought. And yes, there was evil lyrics and there was satanic, you know, imagery, and the artwork is always on point. Sabaton as well. The artwork is always on point, always really good, always eye-catching, makes you pick it up and look at it and think, I quite fancy that. That looks brilliant. But Ghost are the sort of band that I can put on when everybody else is around the house. And they listen to the lyrics and they hear the music and they go, oh, that's quite funny. They don't think, oh man, that's threatening. It isn't Merciful Fate. When you put on Merciful Fate, they go, what is that shit? Yeah. Why is he doing that? Just exactly why is he way up here somewhere? What is that all about? But Ghost have always been, for my money, and I like all the albums, but they've always, for my money, been a remarkably musically friendly band. But they've dressed it up very cleverly into something I don't think it ever was. And I'm always fascinated because I've got friends that don't like anything that we're talking about. They don't like the power metal thing. Sabaton's not even a thing for them. But Ghost, oh, look, could you want to go and see Ghost? Ghost are brilliant. And you go watch them and you think they're absolutely phenomenal live. What a great act. It's not metal, but it was never metal. I do like it though. But I like things that isn't metal sometimes. Sabaton, great live. Ghost I'll listen to in the house. Sabaton, I probably won't.
Well, I mean, here's the thing is, I mean, we're living in an age where this type of music, whether you want to call it metal, hard rock, power metal, whatever you want to call it, both bands and whatever, lots of other bands. I mean, this is not popular with the masses, right? So they've got to do things that will gain the attention of people much larger than this small little niche of listeners, right? And I think, you know, to get back to Sabaton, I mean, they're doing it. And quite frankly, I mean, they were supposed to be the openers on the Judas Priest North American tour that just started. And I guess due to COVID and visa issues and all that kind of stuff, they're not on the tour anymore. So it's now Queensryche. But I mean, just think, just like Ghost got on the Iron Maiden tour 5 years ago, whatever that was. Now Ghost is going to be headlining those same arenas that they opened up for Iron Maiden here in the States. So to me, I'm not a huge Sabaton fan, but that opportunity to open up for Judas Priest here in the States would have been enormous for them, because I could totally, and it's exactly how I thought it would all play out. Sabaton's going to open up for Priest here in the States, and then the next time around, Sabaton will now be headlining all these big places.
Well, there's
without any radio airplay or barely any sales here, you know, because that's the type of following that they have now.
Yeah, avoid that step as such because you get yourself on that tour. I don't know how Simon feels though, because I'm not sure that the slickness of what Sabaton do, they kind of seem to bypass that support act stage. Do you know?
Yeah, they went straight from what they are. I first saw them support Dragon Force. I think the next time I saw them, they were headlining the Academy 2, so that's 800,000 people. And then they leapt straight up to what is the HMV Ritz in Manchester, which is 1,500-ish. You know, and they stayed there for then I saw them at the Academy, and they're headlining all these shows. And that's the one where I saw them with Ailstorm and the Duck.
Yes,
you enjoyed so much. You know, now they're doing arenas. So you think, well, that's a meteoric rise, and you think, well, I first saw them like 17 years ago. Just a long time.
That's the comment.
Yeah, it is.
No. But do you think that I don't know if you could strip out the slickness and the humour and the set plays from what they do now?
No.
I mean, would they? There's the question. If you were to put them on before Judas Priest, and Judas Priest fans are not always the most forgiving, okay? I can understand Ghost maybe having that appeal on a Maiden tour, because realistically, Ghosts have that visual appeal, but you keep the lights down low, and what they do is they play some songs. Well, Sabaton don't. Sabaton play on a stage that's really bright, everything's reflective, it's really in your face, and it is about the have fun. It is about the let's have a joke. It is about we're a bit stupid, but you know that and we know that. And I don't mean that they're stupid. I mean that they'll take the piss out of themselves on stage. Do you know, they do all this kind of where's the guitarist gone kind of thing. And as a support act, I don't think you can get away with that quite so much. And I really do think it's a shame it hasn't happened for a variety of reasons. It could have made them utterly ginormous. And I actually would be very happy for them because they do deserve it because they work for it. But I do also
think they would tailor their approach if they would support somebody genuinely massive like the Priest.
I mean, they might have to, right?
Yeah, your thoughts. Because no matter what you say, Stephen, they could knock out a 10 songs set that would be absolutely mind-blowingly great.
Yeah, I mean, I will admit that. Yes, absolutely. I mean, this is all about, you know, the debate and all this sort of stuff. I'm actually not quite so much here to knock Sabaton because I have and I don't even grudge it. I have a huge respect for them because I think that they've gone way beyond really what the albums would ever allow them to do.
Like Kiss.
Absolutely. Yes. And that's a really strong parallel. Absolutely. Because there's a lot of filler on the Kiss albums. I love all the Kiss albums. I like music from the elder, everybody.
You like Kiss?
Yeah, right. But I don't know. Whatever would give you that impression.
However,
I will admit that they have their great moments and they have their less so great moments. And I think you're probably right. Sabaton live, it's not just the show. The music's good. They're more than competent. The music's good. It's made me go and buy the albums and then wonder what was all that about. Yeah. Enough people obviously buy the albums and then think, oh, that's what that was about. They obviously don't have the same issues that I do with it. And maybe, for want of a better turn of phrase, because I'm a bit up myself about certain things, it really has kind of knocked me a little bit that what it seems to have caused is a ripple effect where an awful lot, not all, but an awful lot of European power metal falls into parody. They seem to have pulled those elements that Sabaton used or that Ronnie James Dio used. And it's become elves and monsters and demons and swords and capes and keyboards and running about, flashing your sword at this audience. And it was great fun. It made me buy the album. I'm as much of a schmuck as everybody else here, okay? Right. Support acts out there. If you want me to buy your stuff, any gimmick will do, okay? But I will bring it home and listen to it and go, well, I don't need that. And that's how I feel about Sabaton. They're better than all of that. They are genuinely better than all of that. But I actually think that they're better than that And that's maybe where my problem is. Do you know what I mean? Do they really need all of that now still? Well, they probably do, because everyone would expect it. But I'd like to hear a killer album from them. I'd like to hear an album where they maybe put aside some of these tropes and go, let's actually make a defining statement rather than just another Sabaton album.
You know what they need from me? What they need from me is a 2-album, 2-disc, 2-record set, like their own Unleashed in the East. That's what I would like. Like a double live album from them that is all killer, no filler, all their best stuff, where the performance is absolutely top notch, great sounding, lavish packaging. That's what I would like from Sabaton.
And same again, I'm coming back to the same thing over and over. At the risk of sounding repetitive, I think they could give you a Blu-ray or a DVD and say, this is killer, this is phenomenal. But I think the show's become so reliant on the show that the double live CD, I mean, when you go and watch them live, and I'm actually not complaining, because I laugh along and I clap along and I sing along, and I'm happy with all the set plays that they do. But they really genuinely, I would imagine, could fit probably at least another 2 songs in every set. There's so much fluff on stage. Fun fluff. It is fun fluff. But there's so much fluff on stage. And you would need to remove all of that from a live CD, not the Blu-ray, because you can, I don't know how many times you'd watch it over and over with all that in there, but you could remove it from the Blu-ray. I don't think you could remove it from, well, you could remove it from the live CD. This is maybe where we part, Simon, because I don't know if they've got a double live CD that would still make me go, that's Sabaton. Do you think?
I feel like they do. But you are 100% correct. It's a show. You go and see the show. You go and see the entire thing. And some of that will not translate into an actual CD or a piece of vinyl. Some of the looks that he gives the guitarist, when he pulls the shades down and looks like that, and does his best Les Gray impression. It's just that doesn't translate, does it? Do you get that one, Pete? Excellent.
But that takes us right back to where we started, right? Is that this band probably is best enjoyed in concert when they're on stage. That's their, at their essence, that's what they do best.
Yes. Yeah. I that's certainly my standpoint, and as a clear Kiss fan, that also is slightly where they do that. They do diverge. I will sit and listen to Kiss albums. Do you know? I'm not going to tell you that they're all Stone Cold classics. I think there are some in the catalogue, and I think there are other ones that are lesser albums that have some great songs on them. There's a couple albums that maybe don't even fall into that category, to be fair. However, with Sabaton, for the length of time they've been together and coming up for 10 albums now, 10 albums, they still haven't, I don't think, put together an album that from start to finish you could say, well, that's a defining statement. That's a real classic album from start to finish. There are no holes there. They're not just thinking, do you know what, this one's a live one, that one's a live one. The rest of it, well, not so worried. And that's it for me. There's way too much filler. And that's also in the live set, way too much filler, but I quite enjoy the filler live. And I would genuinely come away from a live show, and you know yourself, you come away from live shows, even at bands that you don't know, there's a melody in your head. Do you know that there's a chorus line that you'll sing along as you're walking back to the car or the train or the pub or whatever you're going to go and do? But with Sabaton, I come out and you talk about, oh, but did you see the tank? Wasn't the tank spectacular? That's amazing. And did you see that bit where they were kind of, down behind the barbed wire and all that? And, the set plays are funny, but it's so set up. And that's what we talk about when we come out. And I'm not diminishing how much fun we've had, but I am diminishing the fact that it's almost, the music is so secondary that's why I've come out sometimes, well, I've had a great time, buy a CD. You buy a CD, you come home and go, that's not the great time I had. It's not the great time I had. It's something.
Where's the rest of it, right? Because the rest of it is just as important, right? Yeah. Well, then I think your Kiss comparison is very valid then, because there are a lot of people who, to them, Kiss is so much more than just the music. It's more about the concert experience, the theatricality of the bombs, the explosions, the blood, all that kind of stuff, right? That's a Kiss show. Alice Cooper, another one, right? On stage is where you see the true Alice Cooper. Yeah, the albums are great too, but got to go see Alice live. So, I mean, maybe Sabaton and Ghost and some of these other bands, yeah, that's where you get the full picture of what they do when you're at the show.
Yeah, but interestingly, with what you said about having a live album, could Sabaton release an Unleashed in the East? I don't think they could even have an Alive. They couldn't have an Alive 2. That Kiss suddenly stood up and went, yes, there are bombs going off, there's smoke here, there's blood coming out of the mouth, you know, Ace is shooting something at the sky. You couldn't see that on the album, though. Didn't matter.
It was still good, yeah.
They had enough songs and enough energy on stage. And Sabaton have the energy. I don't personally feel they have enough songs. No? That fair, Simon, do you think?
I'm pretending to have frozen. Yeah.
I was wondering there for a second. I'm like, the Zoom.
I think they've got the songs. You know, sometimes, you know, I've been to see them and I've been really irked when they haven't played Primo Victoria. You know, so they've got songs that I like that they don't always play. So I think they've got just a lot of great songs. And you know, to get back to the actual topic, they've got. See what I did there? You know, they've got so much to say. You know, they love heavy metal. You know, they've got a few songs about how great heavy metal is, haven't they? Yes, they do. This is the point where I read some of the lyrics out. Here we go. Metalizer. Metal, back with a vengeance. Metal, all that I need is heavy metal. Metal. Screaming thunder. Metal is all that I need. I mean, come on, need I say more?
Doesn't get much more metal than that, right?
Indeed. I mean, I'm almost certainly going to say more, but you know, just fairly basic shit. But that's fun stuff, you know. Metal crew, yeah. Stringing together metal songs into a lyric is just an art form, and not everybody can do it because many bands have tried. Is Racing with the Motley Crue, Annihilator, Chasing You, and I always, for a long time, thought is an Amulet of Chasing You. And I thought, do I know any bands like that? Well, I feel like I don't. With Guns and Burning Roses, Status Quo has been reached. I mean, what the actual fuck? Really? Status Quo has been reached. Wasp. Unleashed. Wasp, get down with them being bell. But the Quo, you know, let's, you know, no. Like, but, yeah, and you know, I like his delivery. You know, the rolling R's of everything. I thought you were doing that earlier, then I realised you were Scottish. Yeah, he really is the Kevin Rowland of heavy metal, isn't it? And I don't know if you were. Oh, this is true, arguably so. Come on, Stephen / Eileen. Do you see what I did there?
Sorry, my least favourite song of all time there.
Yeah, they've got a new song out from the in fact they've got a few new songs out. They've got some new videos out, but they've got a lyric video out for No Bullets Fly. Let's delve into that one, shall we? And you know, it's so easy to take the piss, isn't it? It really is. But this is exactly how it's. From down below, an enemy spotted. So hurry up, rearm and refuel, because that is how he says it. But through the bombers, damaged airframe, see wounded men scared to the bone. But it's like really melodic, you know. And do you know what? I can't say a word in Swedish, so you know. Who's the fool? Yeah. Who's the people making a living doing what we would like to do? I'll give you a clue. It's not us, is it? We're sat here on what is definitely a Saturday evening, you know, talking about bands, and they're doing it. The brothers, the drummer is Squire Floor Jansen.
Yes, okay.
Yes, Snowy Shaw toured with them for a year.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
During that point when he was, and I believe, fucking everywhere, according to our good mates. Yeah, they've got, as you said, they've got their own festival. Have you seen the lineup for this year?
No,
oh my God!
Actually,
it's almost these are just some I pulled out that I like. Equilibrium, Lordi, Amaranth, Loudness, or as I like to call them, the Japanese Dokken, Freedom Call, Cryonic Temple, Van Cantor. Holy shit! I really want to go to Sweden. I can't because but yeah, and they've got a cruise as well, haven't they?
Yes.
So that, I think that probably buys into why they are so popular, because they've used every trick in the book to just keep going. Here's a cruise, here's a tour, here's an album, here's a DVD, here's our festival. Oh, we're touring again. Oh, let's go to America. Let's see where we can go now. It's constant work, and they deserve. They've got their own History Channel, for God's sake. How many bands have their own channel that's devoted to an interest? Not many.
I didn't know that. Is that true?
I shit you not.
Okay. And can I watch this?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone's turned off now and gone to find this. But I don't mean like the History Channel. Yeah, and much as what you've said tonight, Stephen, about how it's their fault for everything. That niche that they've got of the military, the sunglasses, the tank, the everything. It's them, and they're instantly recognizable as the mighty Sabaton.
Yes, I would say that they are one of the best modern brand bands. All of the album art is similar, but it's cool. The logo is on everything that they do, the t-shirts, the albums, everything there, and the logo is cool. And as you say, they've got a look, and it has changed a little over the years, but I mean that much. He's maybe moved a breastplate.
Well, it's all about building the brand, right? I mean, sticking to it. I mean, you got to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to take your hat off that, because the music business, especially now, I mean, realistically, this is an old hat argument that I've got, because I'm talking about, these things that shine and have music on them, or the black things with the grooves. That's old hat now. That really isn't what being a successful band is, unfortunately, in my opinion. But it is now about building a brand, getting your face and your name, and therefore your music out there, and then taking it out on the road and doing what a lot of bands have not managed to do, and pretend that it's harder work than what everybody else does. I'm not suggesting that travel is easy. I'm not suggesting that every night you think, as you're standing at the side of the stage, I'm in the mood for this. Because we all get up in the morning some days and not in the right frame of mind for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they've got to go out on stage, and because that show is so day glow and so choreographed, you can't have an off night. You can't just decide, I'm going to phone it in tonight. The bassist can't decide, I'm just going to stand at the back and just do nothing tonight. Because they've got to be standing in the right place at the right time with the right grin and the right one-liner. It is that slick and that organised.
The show's got to go on every day, right?
Absolutely. They're one of the hardest working bands out there. They deserve every single drop of success that's come their way. I don't think I'll ever buy one of their albums ever again, though.
No, but for that 2 hour, whenever I've seen them, I've seen them with some non-particular part. I've seen them with Corpicalani and Tyr and non-power metal bands. But for the time you go and see them, because they usually have a good support act at an absolute minimum. But for that, whatever it is, 90 minutes that you're with Sabaton, you'll stand there with a shit-eating grin, thinking, "Holy shit, this is great! I'm really entertained." And in a world where life's a bit shit these days, we Stephen, we've just gone through 12 years of austerity, have we not? And it's possibly only going to get worse. You think, Sabaton's coming, that's going to be good.
Well, I'm going to undermine everything I've said, because the last time that I saw them, okay, there's a Bloodbound, Hailstorm, and Sabaton. Bloodbound, didn't know much about them. The venue wasn't all that busy. We were 2 or 3 from the front. Thoroughly enjoyed them. Hailstorm came on, and I mean, it was in the Glasgow Barrowland, so the place went mental because it's a Scottish band who've got a massive following here. Nobody cares if I like them or not. They're very successful at what they do. Really not my kind of thing. And we genuinely looked at each other and went, let's get to the back. I can't be doing with this. This is just utter nonsense. So we got all our way out of the crowd, and I must admit that we fought our way to get right back to the front for Sabaton. I don't do that very often these days for bands, because I'm there for the music these days. I'm quite happy as long as I can see what's going on and hear what's going on. But for Sabaton, no, I needed to see Yoakum as he did the yoga moves that low down, because you don't want to miss a thing. You don't want to miss a single glint of light off that massive flak jacket that he's wearing. You need to see all of the looks that are happening on stage. You need to see everyone knowing what place they're in so that something can go wrong over there, so it goes right over here. So I'll undermine everything that I've said and say, as a live act, which I suppose is really the point I've made, they're not just good, they're outstandingly good. They're fighting your way to the front because you want to see every single thing good. And for that, have they got it right? Yeah, absolutely they have. Yeah.
That's all that matters, right?
It is really, yeah. It is really.
So there you have it, everybody. An hour's discussion about Sabaton, the good things, the bad things. I mean, really no bad things, right? It's the good things, the kind of mediocre things. But in the end, I think we can all agree that a pretty damn good band that is just growing and growing. And if you don't know who they are, you haven't listened to them, now is your chance to go and check them out. They've got, 9 albums, 10 albums, something like that. They got a whole host of them, DVDs. Maybe you can go see them out on tour. But if you are a fan, we'd love to hear what you think about Sabaton, both the studio albums and live on stage. So put that down below in that little comment place that is down below the video. So thanks for watching, everybody. And thanks for tuning in each and every week here on the UK Connection. That's right. Get out your sunglasses too. Well, I don't have mine handy, but I am empty, though. I will say that. That's not a good thing. So you did a pretty good job. I can't tell, Simon. It's too dark. That blood, wow, now it looks empty. There you go. Done.
Oh, God.
Yeah, there you go. So visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're all here together on YouTube all the damn time. Stay tuned for another episode next Saturday. Till then, for Simon Bray and Steven Reid, I am Pete Pardo. Tune in tomorrow for album homework assignment. Martin Popoff and I, the rematch that you've been all waiting for, coming up tomorrow. And then, Simon, who'd you bring with you today?
Just brought my mate John along.
There you go.
Couldn't figure out how to get him in this week, but he's always with me.
He's there. He's there in spirit, right? Spirit.
Well, he's usually in the cupboard.
Yes. He's out of the cupboard today, right?
I'll get him an apple for next week.
There you go.
Yeah.
Some people come out of the closet. He comes out of the cupboard. So yeah.
Absolutely.
For Simon, Stephen, and John, I am Pete. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.